Thank you. I know you've been here almost 2.5 hours. Thank you for your testimony. I tried to make this pretty quick. Ms. Napolitano talked about issues and problems that UAS could cause in disasters, but they can also be very helpful when there's a disaster. But in order to make UAS a viable technology to fill these roles of being helpful, being that aerial coverage to see what's going on, there are some situations where operators need to quickly obtain temporary waivers from certain restrictions or flight rules. So in the Extension Act, Section 2207 directed FAA to publish guidance and procedures for processing of exemptions to allow both public and civil operators to operate UAS in response to emergencies. The FAA had 180 days to develop this guidance, but it has not yet been issued. So, Ms. Yak, can you give us a timeline for producing a process and guidance to operators?
I'm sorry, that's not an area that I'm responsible for. I do the research. Mr. Gibson, do you have any information on that?
Sir, I'd probably prefer to take it for the record, but we have worked on that. I think we were a better place than we were before, but reference a report. I'll have to get back to you, sir.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. This is not the first time I've raised this, and as I said, it's overdue, and I think it is something we really need to, FAA really needs to get moving on. So.
Yes, sir.
The other question I had, Mr. Lamalfa brought this up, others had brought it up, the issue of somehow fencing off certain areas from where UAS can go. And I know, AirMap has your geofencing. I want to throw another possibility out there and see what the possibilities are. A fixed counter-drone technology, something ground-based, maybe radio frequency that could disrupt the communication. Is that a possibility? Is that something that can work along with geofencing? Where does that fit into fencing off certain areas from UAS?
Sir, that falls in line to some extent with a number of the security issues that we're taking, 2209 with the airspace, 2206 in and around airports. Yes, we've seen a number of technologies, a number of folks have come to us. It's in my mind, not going to be one silver bullet. It's going to be a layered approach. The more opportunities you have, the safer we'll be. But our report will be done probably early fall, late summer on some of those standards. But we have looked at radar, RF, EO as well, geofencing, and the other manufacturing technologies to help keep folks out. We've seen everything from jamming to Wi-Fi interception of the signal. So there's a number of technologies, and that's why we're working closely with DoD, which has had this problem forward for some time, and DHS, as far as making sure we're talking across each front in our exercises that we're doing.
So you're looking at all those, and you will
we already have in many cases, yes, sir. And I know DHS even has another large exercise or test, if you will, coming up, partnered with the Army in New Orleans mid-month.
And when do you expect?
Our report, we're going to conclude Dallas at the end of the month. Then we have a lot of composition and review that we have to do on the data. We're hoping by early fall that'll be ready for submission. Right. I think our timeline for 2206 is the end of December, but I think we'll be a few months ahead of that.
All right. Thank you. I'll yield back.
Thank